Hello and welcome to a new vlog and video in cooperation with ReiseJung. We're taking a look at days 7 to 10 on board of the Swiss Diamond. We're starting in Traben-Trarbach and then we're going to Alken, Boppard and Rüdesheim and back to Hanau. And here on the map you can see our route today. We are starting with passing the Hochmosel Bridge, second highest bridge of Germany with an altitude of 158 meters, before passing Kröv and enjoying a reading of Loriot by Valerie and Thomas Loriot, the famous German comedian and humorist.
4,5 Minuten gekocht haben kann.
Ich koche es aber jeden Morgen 4,5 Minuten.
Wieso ist es dann mal zu hart und mal zu weich?
Ich weiß es nicht. Ich bin kein Huhn.
Ach. Und woher weißt du, wann das Ei gut ist?
Ich nehme es nach 4,5 Minuten heraus, mein Gott.
Nach der Uhr oder wie?
Nach Gefühl. Eine Frau hat es im Gefühl.
After that we've reached Traben-Trarbach and we are now taking buses to Bernkastel-Kues. Our ship was supposed to dock in Bernkastel-Kues, but unfortunately the city couldn't offer us a docking location, so we went to Traben-Trarbach instead and took buses to Bernkastel-Kues. There we brought our guest to a choo-choo train tour and then we decided to discover the city on our own. Here we can see the beautiful marketplace with a famous Spitzhäuschen, and as it was again extremely hot, it was the hottest day of the cruise with temperatures well above 35 degrees. We were going into the forest around Bernkastel-Kues. There's a nice hike to a waterfall, of course in a forest next to a small river, and at a waterfall in a valley it's a little bit less hot, so that was the perfect hike for this day. Here we can see the waterfall in the distance. We're getting closer now. It is a very, very beautiful waterfall and I'm always doing this hike, almost always when I'm in Bernkastel-Kues, as it is a very nice hike. And as you know, I love to go for a little hike. And from the waterfall you can either take the same way back or you can walk uphill to the castle of Bernkastel-Kues. And from there you have this fantastic view over the bend of the river Mosel and over the city of Bernkastel-Kues. Also, you can enjoy a nice glass of wine in the restaurant in the castle. From there you also have this fantastic view, and then we hiked back down into the city center. I would not recommend going this hike the other way around because the way from the city center to the castle is extremely steep, as you can see here, and quite hard to walk, so I would recommend doing it the way we did. You're then walking through the vineyards back down into the city center of Bernkastel-Kues, and there we spent a couple of minutes and then it was already time to head back to the buses and back to Traben-Trarbach to our beautiful Swiss Diamond. Our buses were from a company called Boppard, one of the biggest bus companies in the area, and we are taking the bus again through Kröv with a vineyard name Kröver Nacktarsch, which means Kröv Naked Ass. Yes, it's a very uncommon name, but quite interesting and of course always funny to tell the story behind it. And after dinner we had another excursion planned. We went to a winemaker, Axel Emert, where we could first take a look in the wine cellar. Traben-Trarbach has a lot of wine cellars and one of them is the one of Axel Emert. Quite impressive, so we started our tour there and then we went one floor higher and there we enjoyed a nice wine tasting. Then it was time to head back on board and we left Traben-Trarbach, continuing on to our next destination, which is Alken, our last stop on the river Mosel. On day 8, when I woke up, we were already in Alken. We had a small walking tour through the city and also we decided to take a look at Alken. It's a very small but beautiful city and there is an impressive castle high above the city, and that's our destination for now. It was again well above 35 degrees, so it was already in the morning extremely hot, so we decided to take a longer route to the castle where you're walking through a forest and not as steep, so that was a quite nice hike in the morning. And even though the castle was unfortunately closed due to holidays, which is quite uncommon to have a tourist destination closed in peak season due to holidays, but here it was the case. The castle was not open, but still the look from up there is worth the hike and the hike itself is also quite nice. So now we're heading up to the castle Turand and here we are. the entrance of the castle. Usually this gate is open and then you can access the castle, but as I said, it was closed unfortunately. But the view is still amazing and breathtaking. Here we can see it. You can take a look down to the village of Alken and to the Mosel River. And as you can see, it is a beautiful view. There are several ways to get up to the castle. The easiest one is a way through the vineyards, but it's completely in the sun, so I wouldn't recommend doing that with more than 30 degrees. And then there's the way we took up, and now we're going a third way back down. This is the steepest and most demanding way, but also very beautiful, going through forest, but every now and then you're also walking in the sun and you get to see a lot of nice nature. And there are two viewpoints with another fantastic view over Alken and the Mosel Valley. So also this way is highly recommendable. Here we can see Alken below our Swiss diamond. And on the left side we can also see Castle Thurand. We're heading further down through the forest on quite steep paths, and we were lucky to see a young squirrel. Here we can see it, and we get to see it a little bit closer. Of course we kept a bit of distance to not disturb this beautiful animal, to not scare it, but here we can see it. So that was of course a very nice encounter, and then we continued hiking downwards back into the city center. The last meters are the hardest. It's quite a difficult hike here. Then you get to another viewpoint and we continue walking down, still quite difficult way, and then you end up at a chapel called St. Michael. This chapel is also quite beautiful, so it's a destination for itself. Here we can see the last meters, as I said, a bit more difficult, but not comparable, for example, to the Collis Steilfahrt in Zell that we took a few videos ago. And here we are at the chapel, and what I really love about this is that there are so many flowers around the chapel, a lot of animals. You can see butterflies, you can see bees, as you can see here. So it is a nature paradise. I can highly recommend visiting it. I've never been inside, mostly it's closed, and it's sometimes even a bit scary because you can see some skeletons down here, but it is quite interesting to see. And then we're walking back down into the city. Alken, as I said, is just a small village, but there are a few winemakers, there are a few restaurants and cafes. It is a beautiful city, but the main site of course is the Castle Thurand. Here we are, promenade of the river Mosel, and here we are back at our wonderful Swiss diamond over the ship. We are now continuing, heading slowly homewards. We're now leaving the river Mosel. Here we are on the last meters of the Mosel at the Deutsche Eck, the German corner. It's where Mosel and Rhine are meeting. We are continuing now on the river Rhine, and the weather was changing drastically. As you can see, there are more clouds now. The temperature was dropping by around 10 degrees and we were expecting a big thunderstorm, and it was extremely windy. There was a big storm coming, and as you can see here in the background, that's not rain, that's dust, because the wind was so strong to blow up all the dust. It was extremely windy. There was even an accident on the Mosel with a ship that was pushed against the bridge by the wind, but for us it was no problem. Here on the Rhine there's enough space, and we were quite happy for the temperatures to drop a little bit. Also the rain was quite refreshing, so I voluntarily went up to the sun deck to enjoy the rain, and then it was time for another fantastic dinner on board. It was in fact time for the gala dinner. We had it not on the last but on the second to last day, which in my opinion is always a bit more relaxed, especially on long cruises. And it was yet another fantastic meal. It was a fantastic gala dinner, really enjoyed that. And then it was time for another amazing show by Valerie and Thomas, our artists on board. Again, a different topic. They have so many different shows. It was a lot of fun. Of course, it was a humorous show again, and I really like their energy and that they're doing a show and not just some singing. So that's the big difference to other artists, and that's why I really enjoy the shows of Valerie and Thomas. On the next day, it was the last full day on board, day 9. We left the ship quite early. For our guests, we had a walking tour planned, and I was going for a little hike, and that's why I'm heading very early in the morning to take the first train up to a station called Boppard Buchholz, gaining a lot of altitude. It's just one stop away from Boppard, but you're gaining a lot of altitude. It's the steepest regular railway line in Western Germany that we are using right now, and we are crossing a viaduct called Hubertus Viaduct. Very beautiful building. We will see it later on in the video. We will enjoy the view from the viaduct in a couple of seconds. And we're in a mountain range called Hunsrück, and that's why it's the Hunsrück railway line. And there is a hiking path following this railway line, and we are soon hiking back to Boppard. Here we are on the viaduct, and you can see the fantastic view from this impressive bridge. We will see it later on. And here we are at Boppard-Buchholz. The train is leaving, and now we're walking back to Boppard. To get there we have to cross the Autobahn A61, and then we are following this sign, Hunsrückbahn Wanderweg, Hunsrück railway line hiking path. We're crossing the railway line and then we're following it. In the beginning it's a quite easy walk on a big ways. It's not difficult, quite relaxing, until you get to the Hubertus Viaduct viewing point, where you get this fantastic view, and we can see the bridge that we've just crossed with the train from high above. As you can see, quite an impressive building with a beautiful view. And now it's gonna get extremely steep. In just a couple of minutes we're going from high above the bridge to down below. As you can see, we're now below the bridge, ground of the bridge, just around 10 minutes after being at the viewpoint. And as you can see, it is a quite impressive building. It was quite beautiful to see. We're now down in a valley, but we have to get back up to the altitude of the railway line, even a little bit higher. So the hiking path is not too easy. It's a quite demanding path, but a very beautiful one with a lot of nice nature. And we're gonna get to another viewing point where we can see the railway line. And what I really like about this hiking path is that at the viewpoints there are timetables, and you can see when a train is actually passing it, so you can take shots like this. So of course it's not only a hiking path for everybody who loves hiking or nature, it's also very nice for everybody who likes trains. So for me, of course, it is the perfect hiking path because I like both. At the end you're gonna get some nice views of Boppard and the bend of the River Rhine, still going up and down. You have some nice viewpoints in between, so even the last meters of the hike are very, very beautiful, as you can see here. And we're now getting closer to another viewpoint, also quite famous one. Here we are reaching it, and from here you have a fantastic view over the biggest bend of the River Rhine and the city of Boppard. So we're getting closer again to our beautiful ship. And I can highly recommend taking this hike also when you're in a Boppard with the cruise ship. You just need a couple of hours. So if your ship is staying like half a day, there should be enough time to do this hike. Of course, you need to plan well ahead, but it is possible to do it in just half a day or even less. We're now approaching the ship. On the last few meters, we're gonna get back to the railway line, following it back into the city, and then you can see the trains again, take some more nice pictures of the trains. Here you can see the path being right next to the railway line, and here we can see the train once again just a few meters in front of the station of Boppard, which marks the end of the hiking path. So for us it's now time to get back on board, and we are leaving Boppard, continuing on to our last stop in Rüdesheim. To get there we are going through the beautiful Middle Rhine Valley, past the famous Lorelei Rock, and of course we're gonna also pass Pfalzgrafenstein, my highlight of the Middle Rhine Valley. This is a castle on an island in the middle of the Rhine, and then we are approaching Rüdesheim, also very, very beautiful city. There was not much water in the Rhine. We had extreme low waters due to the temperatures, of course. Here you can see the ship is almost underground, so we were lucky that we were able to sail at all. And we enjoyed our stay in Rüdesheim with a ride with the cable car up to the Niederwald Monument. We've hiked there a couple of times already in my videos, but this time we're taking the cable car. Of course, in the main season in June, the cable car is running all day long. So finally we can take the cable car, and it is very, very nice. I can highly recommend it. The view from the Niederwald Monument, as you can see here, is very, very beautiful, but also taking the cable car and flying over the vineyards is very, very beautiful, highly recommendable. We then take the cable car back down, and we are now heading to a very traditional point in Rüdesheim. You know this from my other videos. Whenever we are there, we are stopping by at the Weinstrand for a nice glass of local wine. This Weinstrand is right next to the ships, and then it is time to head back on board and enjoy the last evening of this cruise. And on the next morning I woke up by chance very early in the morning when we were just passing the skyscrapers of Frankfurt during a beautiful sunrise, but I went back to sleep because it was very early in the morning, and when I next woke up we were already close to Hanau, where this cruise ended. It was a wonderful cruise, but we have a third one planned. That will be the next video. There will be just one video as it is a short cruise, and here we can see when this video will be uploaded and the name of the song. As always, I'd like to say thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to comment, like, subscribe or share the video link, and I hope to see you in my next video. In the video description you can find a link to ReiseJung and Valerie and Thomas.